Welcome. This module will explain and teach you how to respond during a disaster. By the end of the module, we aim to teach how to prevent, if not, minimize death and injuries, avoid loss of and destruction of property, render timely and quality medical care to the greatest number of patients. To start, here are the types of disasters applicable in the medical city: earthquake, fire, bomb threat, typhoon, patient influx, hostage taking. We can group these into two: natural disasters and man-made disasters. While fire and patient influx can either be classified as natural or man-made disaster, these disasters were identified to be amongst the most likely to happen to the medical city. This is why a committee was created for the sole purpose of managing the hospital operations despite these events. The Disaster Preparedness Committee is a committee that sets policies, evaluates the hospital's contingency plan during disasters and executes the disaster plan. The members are: Disaster Preparedness Consultant. Our consultant is Dr. George M. Concepcion. Disaster Preparedness Committee Chairman. GDRT members. Disaster Coordinator or Supervisors on duty. Administrative Services Division Representative or ADS. Medical Arts Tower or MATIR Representative. During a disaster, the team who gets to manage and make decisions is the General Disaster Response Team. The General Disaster Response Team or GDRT is composed of the following: Disaster Control Officer. She'll be responsible in overseeing the overall situation of the disaster. In her absence, the Supervisor on duty or SOD shall take her place. Safety Officer or SO shall report directly to the DCO and has the single function of concern for safety during emergency response operations. Information Dissemination Officer or IDO shall be the one responsible in documenting the entire disaster plan by accomplishing the disaster information checklist inside the command post. Facilities Response Team and Security Office Response Team takes charge of ensuring the structural integrity of the building and restore order to deter any potential criminal acts, respectively. Emergency Department Patient Influx Team shall care for the wounded at any time and without any prior warning. Finance and Supplies Officer or FSO shall be responsible in managing, distribution and monitoring of the Disaster Contingency Fund, emergency supplies, medications, and goods. Public Information Officer or Media Communications Officer shall be responsible in disseminating and addressing latest current updates and information for public announcements, advisories or news releases. In her absence, the Supervisor on duty shall take her place. The GDRT team is heavily supported by local teams called LDRT or Local Disaster Response Teams. These teams are assigned in every department or unit, which allows to have a local and immediate response to solve an incident, even without waiting for the GDRT to assemble and respond. Every department or unit must have their own LDRT members per shift. The members are: Communicator or Team Captain, Disaster Management Member 1. Disaster Management Member 2. Evacuation or Traffic Member 1. Evacuation or Traffic Member 2. What are the required preparation before disaster occurs? Familiarization with the fire exit is very essential because it is the safest way to evacuate and be safe. Stockpile of emergency equipment is also important. Once the existing equipment is down, at least we have an alternative equipment to use. Ensure that emergency lights are operational. Emphasize that, in case of evacuation, there must be no obstruction on all exits to avoid stampede. Always check the emergency vehicles and portable communications are operational. Command post is the center of communication and information. Our command post is the BMS room, or the Building Management System room, which is an intelligence system that detects fire and other damage to facilities. This room is located inside the Facilities Management Department. In case the BMS room is affected, Admitting Department will be the alternative command post. However, if both areas are affected, the DCO will designate an alternative command post that is much safer. These are the basic information you need to know when working here at the medical city. On the next part, we will tackle the guidelines and procedures for disaster.